All right, so let us discuss the question. It's very simple. A rudimentary edition of Sports Talk Radio. Very simple. Question. Who you got winning the NBA Finals circa 2022? So we look in to the crystal ball. And who is the fairest of them all? The Boston Celtics will win the NBA championship in 6 games. Boom! Just like that. So I've got Grantland Rice, infestation, and ammunition. And we will tie all of these random things together, and that will be the foundation for this Maller monologue rocking the nation. So, if you've listened to this show at all over the years, you know that I am a distant relative of the great Nostradamus and friend of Nostradamus. He lives in Seattle. I met him a few years ago. And we are taking the Celtics here because they match up very well with Golden State, but not just because of that. More importantly, all things being equal, I've learned over the years, you go with the healthier team. Advantage sees. The Warriors, they don't have the death lineup they had a few years ago, which I guess is taboo. You can't say that anymore. They have a mix and match. And they've done that very effectively to get to the NBA Finals. But if Steve Kerr goes with a more offensive-minded unit, they are shorthanded on defense and vice versa. But it was the late, great, legendary, Pulitzer Prize-winning sports writer Grantland Rice who coined the term styles make fights. Back in the 1930s, he wrote that styles make fights, and almost 100 years later, that term still is relevant today. But Boston's style of perimeter defense with a deeper lineup, they've got more to bring to the table. Golden State's depth has been whittled away by a pocket knife, and there's a lot of unknown here at this moment, whether Otto Porter Jr., who's got a bad ankle, Gary Payton II with a bum elbow, and Andre Iguodala, the old guy with a bad neck, will play. They're all wild cards for the finals. And even if they play, they may play. But what kind of value will they add? Are they going to make an impact? Or are they just going to be a decoy while they're on the court? Now, of those three, Porter and Payton are more important to the rotation. The Gloves kid, Baby Glove, would provide, I would say, above average perimeter defense for the Celtics and what they bring to the table from three-point range. And Otto Porter Jr. had been a very effective player before he got hurt, scoring a lot of points, many of them inside, something that the Warriors are lacking in that department. Now, part B of this, why the confidence in the Celtics? Now, I mentioned the problems with the Warriors, but the confidence in the Celtics is simple. You trust the X factors. I love that term, X factor. And mainly the fact that there's an infestation on defense. The newly minted Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart, first guard to win Defensive Player of the Year since Gary Payton back in the day, a human pest, 94 feet of annoyance. And he will slow down whoever he is assigned to, whether that be Stephen Curry or Klay Thompson. You can pick and choose here. Now, in addition to Mr. Smart, you have Robert Williams III. Now, both these guys were dinged up in the Eastern Conference Finals, but they both should play here, and they played effectively at the end. But Robert Williams the third, I like that, the third, has helped solidify and get things going for the Celtics. When he got his game in place there, the Celtics were 25-25 after 50 games. And that was back in late January. And ever since then, they turned on the afterburners. And they have not looked back. But you mix in a team-wide tenacity and the perimeter defense, which the Celtics, that's one of the strengths. And they've played pretty well in the regular season. You can't judge the regular season, the postseason. But you can look at that as a possibility of carrying over. It doesn't always carry over, but the Celtics have done a pretty good job against the Warriors in those few matchups during the regular season. And that is how you slow down the Warriors and force them out of what they do well. The object, that's always the object in any athletic endeavor. Just like the Warriors are going to be attempting to do with the Celtics, but you make your opponent feel uncomfortable. And I have a higher level of confidence in the Celtics than I do in the Warriors. Now, the more uncomfortable the Celtics make Golden State feel here, the more miscues from the Warriors and the more mistakes they make, the more opportunities on the other end for the Celtics. And it's the trickle-down economics of basketball and a hidden advantage for Boston, that they have the road court edge. What is the road court edge, you say? Well, the Celtics getting an extra game away from home. Now, normally you would say, oh my God, that's a problem. But let's be honest here. The Warriors don't really have a home court advantage in San Francisco. It's a bunch of rich people. It's not like it was in Oakland. And so let's knock that out. And the Celtics just are a better road team. They've played much better in supposed hostile gymnasiums around the NBA. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have taken turns dropping gut punches and chokeholds on opposition in the road uniform. Does that all of a sudden come to an end on the West Coast? We'll find out. Now, the last word here. You look at the big picture. Who needs to put their rubber stamp on the 2022 finals? Well, this one's easy. And you don't need some gas bag on the radio to tell you, or a blowhard over there. It's Wardell Curry. Stephen Curry, he goes by, for all the trinkets, for all the accolades that he's picked up in his career as a shooting star in the NBA. He has often found that the ammunition is the problem. He's got the wrong ammunition in the NBA Finals, and he is not someone that performs better in the Finals. He actually is a worse player in the NBA Finals. He's a tangibly worse player this time of the year. It's not my opinion. It's a fact. And what's my evidence? All right, so let's go to the numbers. Now, in his career, Steph Curry has shot 47% field goals in the regular season, 42.8 from downtown. That's regular season Steph Curry. Now, what about the NBA Finals? He's been in the Finals a lot. The Warriors, for a stretch, were in there every single year. Steph Curry has shot, in his career from the floor, 42% in the Finals, and he's been even worse from behind the three-point range, 38.5%. Had some good games with some biblically bad games, and that means when you crunch the numbers here, the Human Torch, one of his nicknames, has been a wet wooden match often this time of the year. Wardell, if you're bad at keeping track of numbers, is 5.3% worse in field goal percentage from the regular season to the NBA Finals, and from three-point range, he's over 4%, almost 4.5% worse from three-point land. You say, well, that doesn't matter. It's within the margin of errors. I disagree. And I'll tell you why. The margins are very thin. Margins are very thin in the NBA Finals, and so it comes down to just a few percentage points. And the star player is supposed to be better in the Finals, not worse. But Curry has been worse in his career in the NBA Finals. Historically, he's not a clutch guy in the Finals. That's just the way it is. Now, he has another opportunity here to try to change the story around him, but he's now 34 years old, and you get the feeling that it's going to be more of the same here, that from game to game, it's kind of like when you go to the grocery store and those coin machines where they try to get kids to put a couple coins in there and get some kind of goofy souvenir or something like that, and you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know which Curry you're going to get from game to game in the NBA Finals, and he's had some real stinkers. So wait, we're picking the Celtics here in 6 games over the Warriors, so they might as well not even play the games. They might as well just cancel the whole thing, and I've now made my decree. The Celtics will get another championship.